Hey everyone, welcome to this video. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the box model in CSS. So what is this box model? Well, if we take a look at this code, you see we have a div with some text inside of it. And right here, I have selected that box using CSS, and I have given it the width of 200 and height 200. So now it's a perfect square. And we have changed the background color to this specific color just so you can see what's going on there. And I have given the color white to change the text color to white. So what is content? So content is the content inside of that box. So in this case, you see I have some text here. So this text here is the content. All right. So that's basically it. So that's the content. It's the innermost thing. All right. So it's the innermost thing. Think about that. Remember that. So the first thing always is a content. So it could be images, um, text, and so on, so forth. Um, right here, you see, if I want to add some space between the edge of the box and the text, I'll have to use something called padding. So padding is the space between the edge of the box and the content. So let's add some padding left here. So you'll see that we'll add some space between the text and the edge of the content. So let's do that. So let's add padding dash left. So you can use padding dash top, padding dash right, padding dash bottom. So it's up to you which padding you want to use. So I'm going to use padding dash left, and let me add 20 pixels. So you see it has added some empty space to the left of it. So now I can change it to 40 pixels. You'll notice that it has added even more space. So let me change it to 60 pixels. 60 pixels, even more. How about I go about 120 pixels? You'll notice that my box will become huge, but you see at the very right, my text has gone to the very right. So why is this happening? You see, I have added, so let me zoom in so you can see the code better. So you see I have added padding 1020 pixels, and my box has become so large. So now when you calculate this, when you say width and height, and when you add padding, it adds the padding to the size of the box. All right, so it's still inside of the box. That's why our box becomes bigger as we do that. I'll show you how to fix this later, but let's not worry about it. All right, so that's the padding. Let's say that we want to add a border around it. So if you want to add a border around the box, you can use something called border basically. So border colon, I'm going to say 6 pixels, 6 pixels, solid blue. Let me change it to blue so you'll see what's going on. So you see this has added some border around our box. So this is how you add a border. So now our box has become bigger. So now it's not 200 by 200, 200 width and 200 height. It's not that. No, it's bigger than this because we are using padding left. So when you use padding, padding is added to the width and the height, and the border also is calculated. So now our calculation is not correct. All right, so it's still, I mean, you can still use this. It's up to you how you want to use it, but if you want to place two elements next to each other, for example, this might bother you. So it's a good idea to reset the style sheet. I'm going to show you in a minute before I reset the style sheet and stuff like that. I'm going to talk about, I'm going to keep it like that, but now there's one more thing that I want to talk about, which is the margin. So what is margin? So margin is basically the space between this box. So let's say that there is this box and any other element on the web page. So you see, there is no element here, but if I want to move this text or move this div or this box to the right, I can use margin. So margin dash left, for example, I can add 40 pixels. So 40 pixels. So you see now our box has been moved to the right, but now you see it has added some empty space here. So you see, this is how you move boxes around. So if I want to move it down, I can use, for example, margin dash top to move it down because we want to add some empty space to the top of the box. I can say, for example, 50 pixels. So you'll notice that our box has gone down. If I wanted to move it even more down, I can use a bigger number, for example, 100 pixels. So you see it's more down now. So this is how you basically control that div. But now, what if I want to move it up, the opposite side? So what if I want to move this box to the very edge of the browser? Well, I can say 0. I can add 0 here. But you see, 0 is still not, doesn't go up. So there is a solution to this, and is to use a negative values. For example, I can say negative 20 pixels. So you see, it went up, and now it's way up. So this is how you move things up and down, or to the right or to the left. You can use margin dash right. If I want to move, for example, if I want to use margin dash left, if I set it to 0, and when you add 0, you don't have to say 0 pixels. You see right here, I said 0, you just say 0, all right? So you don't have to say 0 pixels. Nobody says 0 pixels. Just add 0 there. So now it's 0, but you see there is some empty space here to the left of it. I can use a negative number to go to the opposite. So you see margin left. If I want to add a negative number, so I can say, for example, negative 10 pixels. You see now it's to the left of it. So you see, the more I add the negative, the more it will go away off our screen. So this is basically it. And before I go, I want to show you a chart. So before I end this video, let me just fix this again. And let me set the margin top to 20 pixels like that. So now you see, if you want your calculation to come, if you want calculation to be more precise, you can use something called box sizing border box. So in this case, you see you can use asterisk, and then you open two curly braces, and then you type in box dash sizing colon border box. So in this case, what this will does, it will not add padding left to the width and the height. So it will only count the width and the height, but it will not add, it will tell the browser to not add the padding left and the border to it. All right, so you see, if you use this, it will not add it. So now if I remove it, you'll notice that my box is way bigger. So you see, without that, without this asterisk box sizing border box, if I don't use it, you'll notice that our box is bigger than that. So because right now, you see, this is the actual size if you don't reset it. So if you don't reset your style sheet, this is what your box is going to look like. You see, you are using the width 200 pixels and the height 200 pixels, but now you see the area of your box is not 400 pixels. No, it's not, because you see it adds padding left to it and border 6 pixels to all of the box. So you see it's way more than that. All right, so it's way more than 600 or 400 pixels. So to fix this, all you have to do is you have to use the shift number 8 to add the asterisk, and then you open two curly braces, then you add box dash sizing colon border box. So you see now you force the browser to not add the padding left and the border 6 pixels to it. All right, so now we tell the browser, hey, I want to be more specific. I don't want you to add the padding to the size of the box. So you see, that's why you see this text overflows. So in this case, we may use something called, maybe we want to reduce the padding left to 10 pixels. And as you notice, our text is back. We still have some space here. So this is the padding, and we have the border around it. So this is basically it. And before I go, I want to show you a diagram. So let's take a look at it. So this is what we have talked about. So this is the content, all right? And if you add some space around the content, it's called padding. So you see, this is the empty space around the content. And then this is the border around it. And then this is the empty space, which is called the margin. So the margin is the space between that box and any other content or any other element on the page. So that's called the margin. And now let's take a look at the code again one more time. So you see, tell me what is the content here. Tell me what is the content. Okay, so the content is the text here, right? So in this case, there's text. So this is the content. And now what is the padding? Do you understand what padding is? So padding is the empty space between the content and the edge of the box. So this is the very edge of the box. All right. And what is the border? So the border is right here, the below. All right. So that's our border. And what is the empty space out here? All of this. So this empty space outside the box is called a margin. All right. So this is it for this video. And just before I go, I want to talk about resetting the style sheet. You see, if you don't reset the style sheet one more time, you see I have asterisk and then two curly braces at the very top of my style sheet. I'm using box dash sizing border dash box. So what this does is that it tells a browser to not count the padding and border with the width and the height of the box. All right, so I want my box to be the same, even though I want to use padding, but I don't want, my padding to be calculated with the width and the height. So without this, you see, without this reset, my box is way bigger than what we want. So you see, I've set the width and the height to 200 by 200, but if I don't include it, you see, my box will become way bigger than that size because I'm using padding and border, right? And stuff like that. So that's why it's a good idea to use this property at the very top of your style sheet, which is asterisk box dash sizing colon border box. So we tell the browser, hey, do not calculate the padding with the width and the height. Right? So we tell the browser to not count, and we tell the browser to ignore what border we add and what padding we add. We just tell it, okay, keep our width and height the same, and we want it to be that way. All right, so I hope this video was a little bit helpful, and if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. And I'm here. I think this video will get 10 views. 10 views. I expect only 10 views on this video. I don't believe that will reach hundreds, but I think I'll get 10 views. So I'll see you all later.